So guys, now please confirm to me. All of you get my voice on screen. Those who are attending in online, am I audible, guys? Guys, now please confirm to me. All of you get my voice on screen. Those who are attending in online, yeah. And small request to all of you guys. Today, even why I waited up to 7 minutes of time. The moment when I started this class, then very less members are attending now. At present, like what? At 6 o'clock, I started at 6 IST. Very less members. Be on time. Then please come to the class at 6 o'clock. Right, right away at 6 o'clock. I want to start the session. Please come to the class by 6 o'clock. Why? Because I'm unable to extend it immediately. At 7 o'clock, I have other session. At 8 o'clock, I have some other session. Like this, continuously on every 1 hour. Immediately, I have to start the sessions now. So because of that reason, then without delay, without any delay, try to attend the session immediately. Come to the class on time. Okay, that's okay, fine. That's nice. Yeah, come to the content guys. Then yesterday, what I discussed there, let's understand it now. Core Java introduction part we have started there. Core Java introduction differences between Java and others we started, and yesterday we had some discussion regarding the content like what. The very first punch here we started there. C and C++ are static programming languages, but Java is a dynamic programming language. So if any programming language is following the static memory allocation, then that programming language is called the static programming language, C and C++. If the memory allocation is provided for the data at a compilation time, if the memory allocation is provided for the data at a compilation time, then then that memory allocation is called the static memory allocation. If any programming language is following dynamic memory allocation, then that programming language is called dynamic programming language. Examples for dynamic programming language is like what there. Examples for dynamic programming language is Java and Python. The memory allocation is provided for the data at runtime, then the runtime of the application is called as what the dynamic memory allocation. Let's have some diagrammatic representation are given. Inside the diagram are given information related to what is compilation, what is the purpose of the compilation are given. Two reasons, no, high level representation and error checking, these two things. No, then memory allocations at compilation time, static memory allocation at runtime, dynamic memory allocation, that I have given there clearly. Then after that, preprocessor is required in C++, but preprocessor is not required in Java. First of all, I given clarity in the form of a diagram like what there. So where is preprocessor actually? What preprocessor does, that is a secondary. But first of all, where is preprocessor? This point here we understood there. Preprocessor is the first phase, that exists in compilation process. Now see this one diagram if you understand it now. .c file we have taken compilation, .exe execution output. If you open the compilation is coming from four missions. Compilation is a process which is coming from what there four phases. What are the four phases of the compilation here? Preprocessor, compiler, assembler, loader, link editor. Again, compiler if you take now, nearly six phases are available: lexical analysis, syntax analysis, semantic analysis, intermediate code generation, code optimization, and what next one here? Code generation. These are all the points here what we are having here. Okay, now here I record the preprocessor location. Preprocessor is the first phase in the compilation. Okay, what it will do? What preprocessor will do now? So guys, now I'm asking one question to all of you. Now try to answer for it. Now try to understand it clearly. In C and C++, the complete predefined libraries are provided The complete predefined libraries are provided in the form of header files. Am I right or not? Guys, now please respond for me. The complete predefined libraries are provided in the form of header files. See, remember one point. Every programming language is having some predefined library. Every programming language is having some libraries. By using that libraries only, we are able to prepare the application. Some predefined libraries. Okay. Programming languages are providing their predefined libraries on the basis of their conventions. As per their elements, they are able to provide the predefined elements. Programming predefined libraries. No. So if you come for the C and C++ programming languages, no. In C and C++ programming languages, the complete predefined libraries are provided in the form of header files. Can you name them? Can you provide some header files there? What header files can in general we are able to use in C and C++? No. If you take these header files in C and C++, stdio.h, you already knows about it. You already knows about it. stdio.h, conio.h, then after this math.h, and so on and so on and so on. All these are like over there some of the header files which we are able to use inside the C programming language. Their purposes are not required. I'm not moving on to like over there. Purpose of the stdio.h, conio.h, and math.h. No, I'm not talking about them. But the point is what there. What are the various header files which we are using in general in C and C++? Right, sir. It's okay, fine. After this, but how we are going to use them into the C program? These header files are provided by C and C++, that's okay. But how we are able to use them into C and C++ program? Right. In a C and C++ applications, to use the predefined library provided by the header files, we have to include, the header files first. We have to include what are the header files first. Alright. How we are going to include header files first? No. For this, guys, understand it clearly. For this, we have to use what statement here we have to use there? Hash include statement. We have to use hash include statement. Right. Now let me take an example for it now how we are going to use this hash include statement. Hash include stdio.h, hash include conio.h, and hash include math.h, and so on and so on and so on. If any other header files if you want to include there, then we can use this clearly. So what is the statement here we have provided there? Hash include stdio.h, hash include conio.h, hash include math.h. That here we have to understand clearly. Right, sir. Now, so these are about like what there hash include statement. But now I have a question. If I provide these hash include statements, if I provide hash include statements like this, what happened internally? What is going on internally? If I provide hash include statement, what is going on internally? What happened? Who will recognize these hash include statements and who will evaluate these hash include statements and who is going to include these provided header files content to the C and C++ program? If we come for this point here, now I'm going to give some point clearly. Now observe carefully. Guys, everybody put more concentration. Some internal point here I'm talking with you. Now try to understand it clearly. If we compile C program, if we compile C program, then the preprocessor will perform the following actions. If we compile a C program, then the preprocessor will perform the following actions. What preprocessor will perform here? Guys, observe carefully. Preprocessor will recognize all the hash include statements and it takes the provided header files names. Preprocessor will take all the hash include statements and a preprocessor will take the provided header files names. That's the first point here. Preprocessor will recognize all the hash include statements and preprocessor will take the provided header files names. Right, this is point number one. Understand it clearly. Then after that, what second point here? What are the header files names that here we provided along with the hash include statements? Preprocessor will take that names. Preprocessor will search for these header files inside the C software. Preprocessor will search for these header files inside the C software. The preprocessor will search for the header files inside the C software. Preprocessor will search for the provided header files inside the C software. That's nice. Right, sir. Now here two cases. No, one is what there. If the provided header files are not existed inside the C software, then definitely preprocessor will provide an error. In the compilation process, we are able to get what there an error. Understand it clearly. If the provided header files do not exist in the C software, do not exist in the C software, then the preprocessor will generate an error. Preprocessor will raise an error, will generate an error. When it is the case now, when the provided header files do not exist in the C software, then the preprocessor will generate an error. Nice. For example, if the provided header files exist, if the provided header files exist inside the C software, then what preprocessor will do now? Preprocessor will load all the header files content, whatever the header files name we provided, along with the hash include statements. Preprocessor will load all these header files into the memory. Preprocessor will load all these header files into the memory. If the provided header files exist, if the provided header files exist in the C software, then the preprocessor will load all those header files to the memory. If the provided header files exist in C software, then the preprocessor will load all those header files to the memory. Alright, so now this is what preprocessor is able to do now. Guys, now one small note here I'm telling to you. Now observe carefully. This note is giving much clarity. All of you understand it clearly. In a C and a C++ applications, loading predefined libraries means that header files at the time of compilation. Guys, now observe carefully. In a C and a C++ applications, loading predefined libraries, loading predefined libraries at the time of compilation is called static loading. Is called as like what the static loading. Please recognize this word here, static loading. This is the point here. What I'm telling now. In the future, I'm going to highlight this point also. All right. So what's the point here? I'm going to say now in the future now. In C and C++, static loading is going on. In C and C++, hash include statements are supporting static loading. Dynamic loading is not going to be happen inside the C and C++. In C and C++, static loading is going to be happen. Guys, all of you are okay? All of you are getting clarity on it? Please now try to understand what exactly the work of the preprocessor. Here my main concentration is for what there. What is preprocessor? Where is this preprocessor? And what it does? That's the main point here. What I am asking there. Now I given already the point here. Preprocessor is the first phase that exists in the compilation process. Preprocessor is the first phase that exists in the compilation process. Okay, what it will do? What is its functionality? What is its responsibility in the programming languages? Right, sir. Now its responsibility, if you want to understand, no, few points I'm telling there. In a C and C++, the complete predefined libraries are provided in the form of header files. stdio.h, conny.h, math.h, and so on. In a C and C++ applications, to use the predefined libraries provided by header files, we have to include the header files. For this, we have to use hash include statements. So hash include stdio.h, hash include conny.h, hash include math.h. If we compile C program, then preprocessor will perform the following actions. What actions can know? Preprocessor will recognize all the hash include statements, and the preprocessor will take the provided header files names. The preprocessor will search for the provided header files inside the C software. If the provided header files do not exist in C software, then the preprocessor will generate an error. If the provided header files exist in the C software, then the preprocessor will load all those header files to the memory. Note I am giving there, in the C and C++ applications, loading predefined library at the time of compilation is called what there? Static loading. That's nice. Now coming to the conclusion, all of you guys, now coming to the conclusion. What is the conclusion here I'm telling there? Now everybody understand it, no? In a C and C++, preprocessor is required. In a C and C++, preprocessor is required. For what purpose there? To recognize and evaluate hash include statements in order to load the header files to the memory. Conclusion, guys. For what purpose we are using hash include, sorry, preprocessor inside the C and C++ applications? If you want to understand it, no. For what purpose we are using this conclusion here? If you come for this point here, answer is very clear. The purpose is very clear. The main purpose of these header files, that is the main purpose of this preprocessor inside the content is like what there. What is the point here we are understanding there? If you come for this particular content, no, the answer is very clear. To recognize the hash include statements in order to load the header files content to the memory. So this is exactly the meaning of like what there. This is exactly the conclusion here what we are having inside the preprocessor content here. Right, sir. This conclusion is okay, fine, nice. This is what we understand. Next one is my question is, now this is up to C and C++, but our main concept is what there Java. Our main concept is what there Java. So why it is not required inside the Java? Why preprocessor is not available inside the Java? That here we have to understand. Okay, sir. Now let us understand the point clearly. Let's observe carefully. Now what is the point I'm telling here? First understand it now. What is available inside the Java? How the things are going on inside the Java? Understand the point here. After that, we are going to take the conclusion like why preprocessor is not required inside the Java. Now let's understand this point clearly. In Java, guys, observe carefully. In C and C++, the complete predefined library is provided in the form of header files. But how it is available inside the Java? In Java, the complete predefined library, is provided in the form of guys, observe carefully, in the form of classes and interfaces inside the packages. Almost all I'm telling there in the form of the packages. The complete predefined library is provided in the form of packages. Package contains what their classes and interfaces. Now, alright, so now let's see some examples here. What packages are available inside the Java? At least some examples. No, Java.io. Java.io is a package. Next one is after this Java.util. Java.util java.sql, java.sql, and so on and so on and so on. So many packages are available inside the Java. Just only three of them I have written, but so many number of more and more number of packages are available inside the Java. Java.io, java.util, java.sql. That's nice. Okay, but how we are able to use the predefined libraries inside the Java applications which are available in these packages? No, how is it possible to use the predefined library which are available in the packages? No, right, sir. Now observe carefully. In a Java applications, to use predefined libraries which are provided in the form of packages, which are available in the form of packages, we have to import those packages. To use predefined libraries which are provided in the form of packages, which are provided by the packages, we have to import those packages. For these we have to use what statements are import statements. For this we have to use what statements? There import statements. Guys, in the case of C and C++, hash include statement, but in the case of Java, import statement. We are going to import the packages. Packages contains classes and interfaces. That's nice. Now see this now. Then how that import statements here we are going to write? Import java.io.star, import java.io.star, import java.util.star, import java.util.star, import java.sql.star, and so on 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 and so on. Import java.io.star, import java.util.star, import java.sql.star. These are the packages what you are having directly. Now observe carefully. Now might be then people may get some question there. Sir, what is this star actually? In java.io.star, what is this star? In java.util.star, what is this star? In java.sql.star, what is this star? What exactly the content, Okay, now see this. All of you observe carefully. So what is this star? If you understand this point here, java.io, java.util, java.sql, if you are thinking about this point here, now observe carefully. Understand it, no? Star represents all classes and interfaces from java.io. You know already that package is a collection of classes and interfaces. Package is a collection of class and interface. Okay, in a single java.io package, so many classes and interfaces are available. In a single java.util package, number of classes and interfaces are available. In a single java.sql package, so many number of classes and interfaces are available. But my point is what? I want to import all from java.io, all from java.util, all from java.sql. To represent all, we are using what? Star notation. We are using star for the sake of representing all from the specified package. Okay, nice, good. So what's the point here I'm giving there up to now? In Java, the complete predefined library is provided in the form of classes and interfaces inside the packages. Examples of the packages here are given. Next one is in Java applications. To use a predefined library which are provided by the packages, we have to import those packages. For this, we have to use import statement. To use this import statement here, what we are going to do now? Now observe carefully. Import java.io.star, import java.util.star, import java.sql.star, like this here we provided. Alright, sir. Now observe carefully. And some people are asking one question to me, guys. Alright, what is that question actually? Java.io is basically we can call as a package name or a class name. And what is the difference between packages and classes now? It's a package name. Basically, Java.io is a package. Inside this Java.io package, number of classes and interfaces are available. Class can exist in a package. Package has a class. Package has classes. Got it? What I'm telling there. Okay. Package. Okay. Right, sir. Now, nothing, sir. Package is a carry back. Inside the carry bag, what you are able to give, that each and every item is a class. Carry bag is what there is a package. Inside the carry bag, what we are able to provide now? Some items we are able to provide. Say for example, some fruits we are able to provide. In a carry bag, we are able to have some fruits. That fruit is what there is a class, one category. Vegetables we are able to provide. That vegetable is what there, one category, one class. Like this, we are able to understand it. It's okay, fine. So what next one here? After this, after understanding this content here, for example, if I compile a Java file which contains all these packages, all these import statements, then what is going to be happen? What will happen internally? Guys, all of you put more concentration. Now I'm going to talk about the internals of the Java, not C and C++. Already we completed C and C++ about this particular point. Now we are going to talk about the internals of the Java. Put more concentration here now. All of you understand it clearly. Now, for example, if we compile, if we compile a Java file, if we compile a Java file, then the compiler will perform the following actions. Compiler will perform the following actions. Guys, everybody understand this one clearly? If you compile a Java file, then compiler will perform the following actions with respect to the import statements. What is that first action here? Compiler will recognize all the import statements and the provided package names. Compiler will recognize all the import statements and the compiler will take the provided package names. Compiler will recognize all the import statements and compiler will take the provided package name java.io, java.util, java.sql and so on. Good. This is point number one. Point number two. Everybody put more concentration. The compiler will search for the provided packages in the Java predefined libraries. Guys, one point here we have to understand. Every programming language has to maintain its predefined library. Every programming language is having its own predefined library. In the case of C and C++, header files. In the case of Java, packages. In the case of some other libraries. So now in the case of Java, when we import the packages, no, compiler will recognize all the import statements and the compiler will take all the provided packages names. Right, it's okay. Provided packages names. Compiler will search for them in the Java predefined libraries. Clear? In the Java software. Now the point is what? If the provided packages do not exist in the Java software, if the provided packages do not exist in the Java software, then the compiler, what compiler will do, guys? Now tell me. Then the compiler will raise an error. Then the compiler will raise an error like what? What error here we are able to get? No, the package java.io does not exist. The package java.sql does not exist. The package java.util does not exist. Like this, we are able to get an error. Compiler will provide an error if the provided package is not existed inside the Java software. Nice. For example, if the provided packages exist in the Java software, after searching for it, if the provided packages exist in the Java software, then what compiler will do? Guys, put more concentration here. In the case of C and C++, if the provided header files are existed inside the C software, immediately, right away, preprocessor will load all the header files to the memory. That is called static loading. But in the case of Java, if you provide packages exist, the provided packages exist inside the Java software, then the compiler, guys, put more concentration. Here only the point is available. Then the compiler will not rise any error. Compiler will not raise any error. At the same time, guys, understand it clearly. This one is important. At the same time, the compiler will not load any predefined libraries. Compiler will not load any predefined package to the memory. Compiler will not load any predefined libraries to the memory. Compiler will not load any predefined package to the memory. Instead of saying that package, no, just I want to say compiler will not load any predefined libraries to the memory. Compiler responsibility is what? Just to check whether the specified packages are available or not. Provided packages exist or not inside the Java software. If they are not available, raise an error. If they are available, don't raise an error. And at the same time, don't load any predefined libraries to the memory. Yes, all of you are getting clarity. What is the difference between C and C++? Sorry, what is the difference between Java and C, C++? In the case of Java, compiler is not responsible for loading any package to the memory. Compiler is responsible for checking whether these packages are available or not. But in the case of C and C++, in the case of C and C++, compiler is responsible for the preprocessor or compiler, whatever it may be, preprocessor is responsible for loading header files content to the memory. In the case of C and C++, static loading is going on. Now coming to the point here, in Java, now this is not the next point here, but the point here I'm telling there, in Java, in Java, in Java, in Java, at the runtime of the applications, guys, all of you understand it, at runtime of the applications. Now tell me guys, who is executing Java programs? C and C++ programs are executed by C engine or CPP engine. C engine is for C programs and CPP for what? Engine is for what? Their C++ programs. And PVM is available, Python virtual machine, PVM, Python virtual machine. That PVM will execute Python program. Similarly, who will execute Java program, guys? Now tell me. As per your awareness, yesterday also we have discussed about this point. Who is executing Java programs? Come on, everybody has to respond for me. Who is executing Java programs? JVM is executing Java program. JVM is executing Java programs. All right. In Java, at runtime of the applications, runtime of the applications, JVM will load the required libraries to the memory. In Java, at runtime of the application, JVM will load the required libraries. Required libraries in the sense like what their classes and interfaces of the packages. Classes and interfaces of the packages. Libraries in the sense what their classes and interfaces of the packages to the memory. In Java, at runtime of the applications, JVM will load the required libraries to the memory. So now the point is what there, this type of loading predefined libraries, at runtime is called dynamic loading. This type of loading predefined libraries at runtime is called what there? Dynamic loading. Yes, guys, now understand this clearly. Now here, what's the conclusion here I'm telling there? This type of loading at runtime of the applications is called as what there? Dynamic loading. Got it? What's the meaning of this dynamic loading? Now coming to the conclusion. What is the conclusion here I'm telling to all of you now? What is the conclusion here I'm telling to you? Now observe carefully. In Java, guys, observe carefully. In Java, predefined in Java, preprocessor does not require. In Java, preprocessor does not require. Why? Because in Java, hash include statements and header files are not existed. In Java, hash include statements and header files are not existed. Alternatively, Java has import statements and the packages. Alternatively, Java has the import statements and packages. Okay, to recognize the import statements and to load the packages content to the memory, Java has the compiler and JVM. Java has the compiler and JVM. What preprocessor is doing, that everything is done by compiler and JVM. The preprocessor work is done by compiler and JVM. So this is exactly the conclusion here. What we are having, that here we have to analyze clearly. Observe carefully. This is a conclusion here. We are getting there. Now try to understand it now. So the conclusion here, what I am telling here, in Java, preprocessor does not require. Why? Because in Java, hash include statements and header files do not exist. Alternatively, Java has import statements and the packages. To recognize the import statements and to load the packages content to the memory, Java has the compiler and JVM. Guys, all of you are getting conclusion now? Have you understood the difference between C++ and Java? Alright, and moreover, Java is following what type of loading, sir? Now tell me. Java is following what type of loading here? Dynamic loading. But C and C++ are following what type of loading now? C and C++ are following what type of loading now? Static loading. But Java is following what type of loading now? Dynamic loading. Now understand the difference also clearly. Okay, sir. Good. Now, the same diagram, how this diagram is available inside the Java. Now I'm going to provide this diagram inside the Java. Now let me check for it here. Guys, now here I already have some diagrams here. Now let me open it now. Already I have some diagrams here. Just let me open it now. Preprocessor. I think yesterday I saved it, right? It's okay, nice. Alright, so now this is a diagram yesterday I prepared here. Now, if I want to convert this diagram with respect to the Java, the same diagram I want to provide in the form of Java. Now try to put more concentration here. Guys, now everybody has to give clarity. If I want to make it is Java diagram here, first of all, what file here I need to have there? Here I provided like what's the file here? .c. But in place of .c, what file here I have to prepare now? In place of the Java C, in place of C, now I need to provide like what file here? .java file here I have to provide. Am I right or not? What file here I have to provide? I have to provide there, guys. Now tell me .java. .java. That's nice. Okay. Compilation here we are performing over .java file. After compilation of the Java files, everybody put more concentration. Everybody must give response for me. After compilation of the Java file, what files here we are able to get now? In C and C++, we are getting .exe file. Good. But in the case of Java, what files here we are getting now? Tell me. In the case of Java, what files here we are able to get now? Nice, Divya, nice. Right. The file here, what we are able to get is what there? .class file. What file here we are able to get now? .class file. .class files here we are getting there. It's okay. How many .class files? How many .class files? That all the things here we are going to understand, but no need to think much about it now. When we execute these .class files here, we are able to get output. That's nice. In the Java compilation process, what is not available, guys? Now tell me. In a Java compilation process, 4 points here are given there. 4 phases are given. Preprocessor, compiler, assembler, loader, link editor, like this are given there. Now tell me, what phase is not going to be available? What phase is not available inside the Java? Come on, guys. What phase is not available inside the Java? That here we have to understand clearly. What phase is not available inside the Java? Alright, exactly. What phase is not available inside the Java? Preprocessor phase is not available inside the Java. What is not available here? Preprocessor phase is not available inside the Java. Okay, preprocessor phase is not available inside the Java. Okay, leave this one. Preprocessor is not available inside the Java. That's why we strike it off it. So finally, the compiler internal process is available as is. Only the other changes here what we are able to have between C++ and Java. There is a change in the diagram. Now that one also here I'm going to provide in the diagram here. Now observe carefully. Right, guys. Now understand it clearly. This diagram here I given now. Fine. After that, guys, now to all of you, for all of you, I'm going to provide one important interview question. Here we have to provide answers for this question. Important interview question here I'm going to provide. Then here we have to answer for my question now. What is my question here? Everybody, try to give answers for it. What are the differences between hash include statement and import statement. What are the differences between hash include statement and import statement? So this is the question here. What I have asked there now. What are the differences between hash include statement and import statement? Here we have to provide answer for it. Guys, are you getting clarity on this question now? What are the differences between hash include statement and import statement? Answers here I am giving the very first answer. Hash include statements exist in C and C++. Is the first point here. But whereas import statements exist in Java. Am I right, guys? Are you understanding the first difference now? Have you got the first difference here? Hash include statements exist in C and C++, but import statements exist in what there? Java. Clear. Next, after that, what type of libraries are included by hash include statements and what type of libraries are included by import statements? Understand it clearly. Hash include statements, hash include statements are able to include the libraries, are able to include the libraries which exist in the form of header files. Hash include statements are able to include the libraries which exist in the form of header files. But whereas import statements are able to include the libraries, import statements are able to include the libraries which exist in the form of which exist in the form of packages. Right, sir? Now all of you understand the point clearly what I'm telling there. Import statements are able to include the libraries which exist in the form of packages. Hash include statements are able to include the libraries which exist in the form of header files. Guys, now all of you are getting clarity on these points, no? Okay, right. So now this is point number 2. Now guys, I'm asking this question there. Which one is supporting for static loading and which one is supporting for dynamic loading? Now tell me. Which is providing static loading and which is providing dynamic loading? Come on guys, you know already this point. I highlighted even that point also. Which statement is providing static loading and which statement is providing dynamic loading? You know already this point here. Hash include statement is performing static loading. Import statement is performing dynamic loading. All right, sir. It's okay. Import statement, the hash include statement. Okay, hash include statement is performing static loading. The import statement is performing dynamic loading. It's okay. Leave it. Point number 4. All right, sir. It's okay. Who is evaluating hash include statement and who is evaluating import statements? Now tell me. Who is evaluating hash include statement and who is evaluating import statements? No. Come on, guys. I'm waiting for your reply. Who is evaluating hash include statement and who is evaluating import statement? No. If we come for this point now, hash include statements are evaluated by the preprocessor. Hash include statements are evaluated by the preprocessor, whereas import statements are evaluated by the compiler and JVM both. Compiler can recognize import statements and that import statements or maybe loading is going to be happen is performed by JVM. Loading will be performed by JVM and evaluated by compiler also for checking the specified packages are available or not. So it must be recognized by both compiler and JVM, but hash include statements are evaluated by the preprocessor. Right, sir. It's okay. Fine. So, and one more point here I'm telling to you now, fifth point here. Now, observe carefully. I'm asking this question to you. Now, try to understand it clearly. Is this syntax is possible inside the C and C++? Is the syntax is possible? Hash includes stdio.h comma conio.h comma math.h. Is it possible to write like this? Come on, guys. You have to answer for me. Is it possible to write the syntax like this inside the C, C++? That means my question is what? Is it possible to include more than one header file by using single hash include statement? Right. Most of the people are replying that no, 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 not possible. It is not possible to include more than one header file by using single hash include statement. No, it is not possible. So, but how we are going to include more than one hash include statement? No, here the point is what? To include more than one hash include statement, to include more than one header file, to include more than one header file, we have to use more than one hash include statement. That is what that more than one hash include statement. How the syntax is going to be provided here? No, hash include stdio.h, then close it. Next one is what there, hash include conio.h, then close it. Hash include math.h, then here we have to write it. To include more than one header file, we have to use more than one hash include statement. It's okay, nice. Next one is what there, to import more than one class or interface. To import more than one class or interface of the same package, or maybe instead of saying that here, what I am telling there, instead of saying that in Java applications, in Java applications, we are able to import more than one class or interface of the same package, guys. Now understand it, not from different package. Now more than one class or interface of the same package by using a single import statement with the star notation. In Java applications, we are able to import more than one class or interface of the same package, not from different package. If you are using, if you want to get classes and interfaces from different packages, no, then we have to use multiple import statements. But from the same package, more than one class or interface of the same package by using a single import statement with the star notation, we are able to do this. Now let me check for it. Now if you want to go for it, I want to get all my classes and interfaces from java.util package. So here we have to use import java.util.star. We are right what there, import java.util.star. So what is the meaning of it? No, in java.util package, so many classes and interfaces are available. I want to get all these class and interfaces. I want to get all class and interface of the java.util package. Because of that reason here we are having import java.util.star. Because of this reason here we are writing java.import java.util.star. Like this here we are getting it clearly. Right, so now these are about like what there, all the differences here we are getting. Now let me check all the differences. No, if anything is missing. No, first of all the question is what there, what are the differences between hash include statement and import statement? Hash include statements exist in C and C++. Import statements exist in Java. Hash include statements are able to include the libraries which exist in the form of header files. Import statements are able to include the libraries which exist in the form of packages. The hash include statement is performing static loading. The import statement is performing dynamic loading. Hash include statements are evaluated by the preprocessor. Import statements are evaluated by the compiler and JVM. To include more than one header file, we have to use more than one hash include statement. Examples are given. In Java applications, we are able to import more than one class or more than one interface of the same package by using a single import statement with the star notation. So these are the various differences here we understood clearly. Right, sir. Now, after this, The next difference, now the second difference here we completed. The next difference here I'm going to discuss with you. The third difference is what? The very very important difference, and everybody they are discussing about this difference in outside also when they're trying to learn Java. Now the difference is what there. Now observe carefully. C and C++ are platform dependent programming languages, but Java is a platform independent programming language. Right, sir? Now understand it clearly. Java is a platform independent programming language. Now this is another difference here we provided. C and C++ are platform dependent programming languages, but Java is a platform independent programming language. Here we have to understand this point clearly. Okay, this is that important difference here we have to understand clearly now. This is the third difference here what we are getting. Right, sir. This is the third difference here we have to understand. C++ are platform dependent programming languages, but Java is a platform independent programming language. So this is a third difference, sir. Overall, how many differences here we provided here? 9 number of differences are available, but now at very startup mode here just we are understanding small differences no at present here. Important differences here we are understanding no. C and C++ are static programming languages, but Java is a dynamic programming language. Preprocessor is required in a C++, but preprocessor is not required in Java. Next one is C and C++ are static. What next one? Platform dependent programming languages, but Java is a platform independent programming language. Now this is another difference here we are going to understand. Guys, can I discuss this topic on tomorrow? Guys, now can I discuss this topic on tomorrow? Yeah, what is the difference between platform dependent? Yeah, there's a point I'm going to discuss there. That's the point I'm going to discuss in tomorrow. No, effectively we are going to say anything. Just I'll discuss. There's a most important topic, interesting topic. Most of the people are not aware about what's going on internally. That I will discuss there, guys. Then once again I'm telling that those who are new members today, take this link. This is a daily classroom notes link. Whatever the notes I'm typing every day, that everything we are able to get through this link only. And about my single point of contact for my classes. About my classes, single point of contact. Anything if you want to get details about my classes, no, directly you can call to this Hemant, and Hemant will be available in this particular number. And people are asking to me, guys, again I'm telling there, most of the people are attending this class now. I'm not the right person to talk about money related things. In between you and me, only Java is going on. So technology should be the relation between you and me. So not like what their money. So admin people are available, directly you can talk with him. Still I'm giving that number to you. And again, inside the classes now, inside the chat messages now, people are saying that, sir, please give some concession, or sir, please and refer me. So, see, I'm not at all responsible person for it. Directly you can talk with him, even money related or admission process, and even video recordings also. Sir, for every video recording lectures will get different link. Yes, exactly. In a different link, you are able to get that recordings no, and moreover, understand it clearly. That links are very secured. The links are very secured actually. Not in a drive, sir. Not in a drive. Then we are taking the license of this GoToWebinar. Through this GoToWebinar, I'm going to share that links to you. But one what I'm telling there, one Google Sheet we are going to give an access to you through that Google Sheet, where we are going to keep all these URLs. No, then directly we can access that URLs. Okay, so lot of videos are coming there. So even Google Drive was also not possible to maintain in the form of Google Drive, right? And moreover, we have taken license of this GoToWebinar with the storage also. So because of that, you will not get any problem there. And directly you can watch that video. So we are going to send all the links of these videos through a Google Sheet. Through that sheet, we are able to get it clearly. Don't worry for it. Okay. Yeah. The Google Sheet we are providing. Through the Google Sheet only we are able to get it. In a Google Sheet, we are able to have all the links of these videos. No, I think you'll get that Google Sheet access there. Talk with Hemant. Hemant is a admin person. This is a single point of contact for my classes now. Guys, now those who are new today, just try to take a screenshot of it and try to access this content. Yes, clear? Guys, then shall we meet tomorrow? Shall we meet on tomorrow? Time is up already. Yeah. Thank you guys. Thanks a lot. I'll meet in tomorrow. Tomorrow we are going to discuss about further discussion like Java is a platform independent and C plus a platform dependent. Don't miss the tomorrow's class. Now tomorrow's class is very very interesting. So a lot of internal concepts, more and more number of internal concepts I'm going to discuss there. Right? Thank you guys. Thanks a lot. I'll meet you tomorrow. Yeah. Arvind. Full stack Java, I will take minimum 6 to 7 months of time. Sure. Why? Because then more content I have to discuss there. So full stack Java, it will take nearly 6 to 7 months of time. Okay. Thank you guys. Thanks a lot. The core Java, 2.5 to 3 months of time it will take, sir. Minimum. Okay. Parallel, I'm going to start all remaining courses there. It's okay. Guys, then anyway, then try to talk with Hemant. We'll give more clarity about these details. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.